Hello everyone. Today I have for us a very instructive game. It was a long game which I played today. It was a 5 hours and 20 minutes long game, which I ultimately won, but it was a long grind. So I wanna introduce this game to you because I believe there are a lot of lessons to learn here. So first off, the opening. We have this kind of line. I'm not exactly sure what it's called, but it's a sort of exchange slab variation with a symmetrical flavor to it. Personally, I don't quite enjoy playing this with black because I have found it to be a bit too symmetrical for my personal preference. And very often, especially in blitz games, I have found myself blundering right out in the opening. So I think I made a bad opening choice in this game actually because it's a very difficult opening to play correctly, accurately. Now here's a key moment. You see, knight is attacking the pawn and the queen is attacking here. So he could take, but then I would take this. However, it's not so straightforward. E3, as you see, which white played to defend this pawn and then prepare this, is not the optimal move. The optimal move is indeed to capture the pawn. And for black, the optimal move is not to actually take back, because seemingly that falls into problems. So let's have a look. What happens if you take here? Well, you run into long castling, and all of a sudden you're in a lot of trouble, right? All of a sudden you're in a world of trouble. What can you even do here? You got to protect this knight. So what if we try coming here? Well, then the rook just comes in. Boom. And still well, you're gonna have to it's a lost game. Okay, so that just goes to show that I did in fact not really understand this opening, because I was expecting, you'll take here, I'll take there. Fortunately, my opponent trusted my judgment and he played e3, assuming that he probably presumed I knew what I was up to, but I really didn't. And from then on we played a series of relatively good chess. Always want to get your rook to the open file, take advantage of this pinned piece. And now for black, the real dilemma is when to play the pawn break move. If you don't have a pawn break plan, you don't have a plan. I decided not to play it yet because it's easily met by this, And the real point is you want to be able to get your knight in here uh, only after this pawn is already up, because then should he play this, you can capture there with the knight and bishop defending. Okay, we will see it on the board. So I played e6, and here he made a soft move, which I think was the start of the downfall. Okay, it's knight f3, definitely. This board demands it. When you have two knights, you don't want to voluntarily couple them together just for no reason. But I understand. He's thinking that I'm going to come here, and if his knight were on f3, then I can capture here, and he'll capture back, and he has this weak pawn that will become a target for me. So that's the thinking behind it, you see. But in principle, it's not optimal. Now, because of that, I obviously didn't play that bishop there. Now I decide now is the time to strike. His pieces are a bit clumsy, you see. If I come and kick the knight's gonna, these two knights are clumsy for each other. This bishop and knight is clumsy. He can't just come here. He's gonna end up in a bit of trouble with the bishop. So this is one of my skills, is I'm good at squeezing people when their pieces are a bit clumsy. We saw that in the previous long game as well. So opponent blocks this, and now we get our knight into the lovely outpost. And, should he come here, of course, knight captures there, right? Let's just see it out on the board. Knight captures here, and, well, that's about it. That's about it. Nothing much to see. So our opponent castles, and we're playing patient now. Now we have a position that is in control. When you're in control, just play the moves you need to play. Don't be in a hurry. It's a good lesson in patience and knowing when to do those bureaucratic moves, like castling and all of that. Here's a good moment because you have control of the situation and you can just sit on that, rest in that while you take care of the errands. Okay. And now we have a bit of a game breaker moment before, and I believe computer recommends knight e4. Knight e4, that's quite a dynamo of a move. I didn't play it. I think it's a bit, I don't know. What happens after this? There's probably the intermezzo here with the rook. And after this, capture back, and well, the queen can't take it because of the knight fork here. Interesting. But what if you just defend against that fork? Wow, you've got all sorts of tricks here. Knight takes here, rook takes back, and the pawn now forks these pieces. It's very messy position. Interesting. I did not see this. In fact, I would say that knight e4 didn't even cross my mind. And that shows you a lot about yourself. You know, when you notice what you notice and what you don't notice, you know what your general tendencies are. And mine are to control the game, to have safety and solidity. I don't like the chaos of tactics, and therefore I miss opportunities like this. But here we are, interesting position and very awkward knights, as you can see. The tactics are on now. Okay, this pawn is a real weakness, and the knight is threatening to hop in here. So he captures the knight, and here we capture first with the rook. It's a minor inaccuracy, it seems, but the general idea still remains that you want to capture in this direction because it allows your bishop to be liberated. That's one reason, and gives your knight some opportunities to enter the game as well. Moreover, if you capture like this, then all of a sudden this pawn, which is a weakness, can become rather annoying. It can become a little bit annoying. It can be a bigger nuisance than it might appear. So here we have a clumsy position for our opponent, and we're just squeezing him. Okay, we're just creating pins and developing our position gradually. You see, control of the open file, control of the long diagonal. This is how to play chess. Of course, he has a long diagonal bishop too, but I thought, you know what, let him have that much because it's not doing anything. It's irrelevant in the context of the game. So now he's starting to make a luft for his bishop here, okay? And I decide to play the knight in, you know, and we end up with this kind of a pawn structure, kind of a diamond with a bishop at the root structure. And it's not that great for this bishop because this bishop is blocked by his own pawns, but he's defending them really solidly. You know, the knight here is always attacking both pawns at the same time, and things like that. We have the bishop pair advantage. We have a passed pawn advantage. We have control of the open file. All the cards are in black's favor. It's just a matter of precision. So we start attacking this pawn here because now, should his knight come here, we can easily capture. So his knight is stuck there. It's stuck. Okay, and he plays this rook move. And now here came an opportunity. I mean, pause the video and think for yourself. What do you think black should do? Should black play a waiting move or something spectacular? Or can black take this? Rook takes back, bishop takes here, and try to win this endgame with the, well, not endgame, but this middle game with two passed pawns and the bishop pair against a queen and a rook. It's an interesting game, and I deliberated on this for a while. I ultimately decided it was too ambiguous, too unclear. I couldn't see a definitive path to victory, so I chose not to do it. I played it out here on the computer, and here we can see what the line is. It's a draw. It's a drawn line, but we can see what the line is. Okay, queen comes in for the back rank. Queen goes back to defend the back rank. All kinds of moves, and black is able to muster those pawns forward, but white is awfully persistent with annoying, and ultimately it doesn't work out. It doesn't work out for black. There's no win here, no forced win. It might be difficult to play, and especially in a blitz game, it might be worthwhile, but not on this case. So instead, I chose to play a waiting move like g6. It's waiting and it's also preparing an eventual f5, maybe. Here I'm preparing against this pawn break by triple battering down here. Rook is guarding against the square for the knight. Queen is just putting pressure, just creating pressure, opening possibilities. And now queen swings in here, attacking from this angle and trying a different angle. Because you see, even though I have control of the position, I don't have the finishing blow. I don't have the finishing blow. So I need to scuffle up the waters on the other side of the board now. That's what I'm trying to do. But he's blocking. He's trying to go for a fortress. He's trying to make a bloody fortress here. And that is difficult to handle, okay? Because these pawns are now locked. These also locked. The only way to make the game progress, to break open the position, is somewhere over here. And you have to be very careful with your pawn moves so that you don't allow the opponent to close up the game. Okay, we have a very delicate kind of a position, and I'm trying to prepare this maneuver, prepare this pawn push. But white is holding his position, okay? He's holding fort, and now it is tempting to play the queen here, but that just locks up the position further, potentially. I'm really not sure. Maybe it's still winning, but it's just unclear. And I'm trying to make headway. So now we saw our bishop was the only piece that was suboptimally used. So we're trying to get the bishop into the game now. We're trying to get him into the game, and that's what we're going to see happen now. Okay. We have waiting moves from white. Black has full control of the position. And now, well, white allows black to come in quite effortlessly. Even if he didn't allow it, black would have plenty of plans. Okay, black can, of course, always do this kind of approach to get the bishop in there. There are many approaches. But white is starting to run short of moves now, as you can see. And now he's deciding to trade the rooks, which I accept, but I keep control of that open file. And I'm just waiting for the blunder, Knight comes here, bishop capture, queen capture, win the bishop, win the game. But he doesn't blunder. And the only way to make progress now is to start getting funky. Okay, you got to play a pawn like this, allow this capture, play another pawn forward, and then you get that pawn there with your angle. So wait a second. Yeah. So our opponent doesn't play the right move here. Knight a2 is played, and I think it's a blunder for some reason. h4. He captures, captures, captures. And now here, when I first went for this line, I was thinking I'm going to capture this, deflect the queen away, win the knight, and checkmate. Checkmate right here. But he can block. He can block. If he blocks with his queen, however, we capture, capture, and then push the pawn up, allowing bishop to capture it. But then you get your king into the game, and the bishop has to probably stay here or here, and the king starts to enter the position, and this pawn becomes very difficult to stop, while this bishop keeps an eye on those pawns. However, if you go and defend with the bishop instead, then all of a sudden it's a drawn game, because you're going to lose this bishop, or you try to defend it, then the queen comes in, and it's a perpetual check, draw. So very tricky position. So ultimately, I didn't go for that bishop sack. I chose to play a safe waiting move. I still have all the aces. I just need to hold my own here. And now I'm going to go quickly through the next moves. Okay, I missed an opportunity here. Here I could have now captured this pawn, and knight captures back, and it's game over. But I had control of the position. I just poked and prodded, waited for the mistake, which did eventually come, but it was not easy. And even here, for example, I made an error. I could take the pawn here, and queen can't capture back because of mate right there. So I missed some opportunities. Was definitely low on time here. We were basically blitzing out these moves. But eventually, the pressure came on, and he made a few blunders, and he got checkmated. Hope you enjoyed the game. Thank you.